Right now, in this exact moment, there's a voice inside you that's been quiet for way too long. Not the voice that doubts you, that one's been plenty loud, but the voice that knows exactly who you're supposed to be. That voice is trying to wake up. And if you're here watching this, listening to these words, then some part of you is ready to hear it. You know that feeling when you wake up and for just a second, everything feels possible. Your mind is clear, your heart is open, and you haven't yet remembered all the reasons why things are impossible. That second, that's not a lie. That's the truth. Everything else after that is the fiction you've been telling yourself. Let me be honest with you. You're not here because your life is perfect. You're here because somewhere along the way, you stopped building it and started surviving it. There's a difference. Surviving means you're just getting through each day, checking boxes, pretending the weight isn't there. Building means every single action you take is deliberate, purposeful, connected to something bigger than just getting by. Think about that for a second. How long has it been since you felt like you were building something instead of just trying not to fall apart? Maybe it started small, a day where you didn't work on your dreams, a conversation you didn't have, a commitment you didn't keep to yourself, and then another day, and another. And before you knew it, the person you promised you'd become felt like a stranger. Not someone who did something wrong, but someone who simply wasn't there anymore. And the cruelest part, you were the one who left. That's not failure. That's disconnection, and disconnection is exactly where your rebuild begins. Here's what I know about you, even though we've never met. You've felt the weight of being average when you were born for something extraordinary. You've watched other people move forward while you stayed still, and instead of it inspiring you, it made you bitter. You've lied awake at night replaying moments you wished you could undo. You've wondered if you'd ever become the person you imagined when you were younger, before life taught you to dream smaller. You've felt the sting of rejection, the ache of loneliness, the suffocating pressure of expectations you couldn't meet. And worst of all, you've started to believe that this version of you, this tired, doubting, stuck version is permanent. But it's not. The most dangerous lie you can believe is that other people changed their lives through luck. They didn't. They changed their lives because one day, they looked in the mirror and they didn't recognize themselves anymore, and something inside them broke. Not their spirit, their patience with being someone they didn't respect. That moment is available to you right now. Your life didn't crumble because you're weak. It crumbled because you stopped respecting yourself enough to protect it. And that's actually the good news, because you didn't lose the power to change. You just forgot you had it. You buried it under excuses and fear and the comfortable numbness of not trying. Think about the last time you did something that made you proud of yourself, not proud of the outcome, proud of yourself, of your character, of the effort you gave, even when it was hard, even when nobody was watching. Can you remember that feeling? That quiet satisfaction of keeping a promise to yourself? That's not nostalgia. That's proof. Proof that the person capable of that pride is still inside you right now. The world is very good at convincing you that you need to change everything to fix your life. New job, new partner, new city, new circumstances, but you'll take yourself with you wherever you go. And if you haven't fixed you, then you've just changed the location of your suffering. You need to rebuild from the inside out, and that starts with the most uncomfortable truth of all. You have to forgive yourself for what you've done to yourself. See, there's a difference between shame and accountability. Shame says, I am broken and I will always be broken. Accountability says, I broke something and I have the power to fix it. Shame is a permanent prison. Accountability is a temporary structure you build around yourself to keep the debris contained while you clean it up. You've been carrying shame when you need to be carrying a hammer. So let's talk about what rebuilding actually looks like, because it's not what you think. It's not dramatic. It's not a lightning strike moment where suddenly everything changes. It's slow, it's unglamorous, it's waking up at the same time every morning when you'd rather sleep. It's choosing water instead of alcohol when everyone else is drinking. It's opening a journal when your mind is screaming. It's having a difficult conversation when silence would be easier. It's saying no to something that doesn't matter so you can say yes to something that does. Rebuilding is choosing yourself over and over again in moments when nobody is keeping score except you. Here's the thing about discipline. Everyone thinks discipline means punishment. Like you have to suffer and sacrifice and deny yourself everything good. That's not what discipline is. Discipline is self-love made into action. It's saying, I love myself so much that I'm willing to do hard things right now so that my future self can be free. Think of your life as a garden that's been neglected. There are weeds everywhere. The soil is hard and cracked. The plants you planted are dead or dying. Now, you could look at that garden in despair. You could say it's too far gone, too much work, impossible to recover. But a gardener doesn't see devastation. A gardener sees potential. And they don't try to fix the entire garden in a day. They work on one section at a time. They pull the weeds, they break up the soil, they plant new seeds, they water consistently, they show up even when they don't feel like it, because they understand that growth requires time and repetition and faith that if they keep showing up, something will grow. Your life is a garden, and right now it needs a gardener. The reason people don't rebuild their lives isn't usually because they lack intelligence or talent or opportunity. It's because they lack consistency in small moments. They can do hard things for a day or a week, but consistency, that's the thing that breaks most people. That's the wall that almost everyone hits and gives up at. Because consistency is boring. Consistency doesn't give you the adrenaline rush of a dramatic change. It just requires you to show up day after day, doing small things that nobody notices. But here's the secret. You're not doing it for people to notice. You're doing it because the person in the mirror deserves better than who's looking back at them right now. Let me ask you something. What would change if you actually believed that you were worth rebuilding? Not in some abstract intellectual way, but truly believed it in your bones that you deserve the effort to become who you're meant to be. What would you do differently today? What conversation would you have? What commitment would you make? What would you stop accepting as normal? Because that's where your rebuild starts, not with new goals or new plans or new circumstances. It starts with a decision that you matter, that your life matters, that how you spend your time and energy matters, that keeping promises to yourself matters. Most people are waiting for permission to rebuild their lives. They're waiting for someone to tell them they're worthy, that they're capable, that they deserve a second chance. But that person you're waiting for, that person will never come. Because the only person whose permission you need is the person who's been with you your entire life. The person who knows every mistake you've made and every dream you've abandoned and every moment you've let yourself down. That person is you, and you are giving yourself permission right now. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not when circumstances are perfect. Right now. This is the moment everything changes, but not because something outside of you changed. It changes because something inside of you decided to wake up. Your past doesn't equal your future. No matter how many times you've failed before, no matter how many people have let you down, no matter how many promises you've broken to yourself, none of that determines what comes next. What determines what comes next is this. What are you willing to do today that your past self wasn't willing to do? That's it. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow. You don't need to make a grand proclamation to everyone. You just need to do one thing differently, one small act of self-respect. Maybe it's going to bed on time instead of staying up in the darkness of your own thoughts. Maybe it's having the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's spending an hour on something that matters to you instead of scrolling through other people's lives. Maybe it's admitting that you need help and asking for it. Maybe it's simply looking in the mirror and saying, I'm going to rebuild you and I'm going to start today. That's all it takes to begin. The interesting thing about small changes is that they compound. They don't compound overnight. You won't feel dramatically different after a week, but after a month of small choices that align with your values, you'll start to notice something. The way you carry yourself will change. The way you speak will change. The way you make decisions will change. And people around you will start to notice too. They'll start asking what's different about you. And you'll know the answer. You're becoming someone you respect again. That's the thing people don't tell you about rebuilding your life. It's not really about your life changing. It's about you changing. And when you change, everything else reorganizes itself around the new person you've become. There's a storm coming. It might be coming no matter what. Life doesn't wait for you to get your act together before it throws difficult things at you. But the difference between someone who rebuilds and someone who stays broken is this. A broken person sees the storm as proof that they can't succeed. A rebuilding person sees the storm as proof that they need to be stronger. Storms don't last forever. But the strength you build weathering them, that stays with you forever. Here's what's actually happening in your life right now. You're not falling behind. You're not running out of time. You're not too old or too young or too late. What's happening is that the person you've become has finally caught up to the person you pretended to be for so long, and the gap between them is so wide that you can't ignore it anymore. You can't smile and pretend and push forward without acknowledging that something's got to give, and the thing that's got to give is your attachment to the version of you that got comfortable with average. Think of it like this. There's a version of you that exists in your imagination, the one who kept all their promises, the one who chose courage over comfort, the one who invested in their dreams even when the outcome wasn't guaranteed, the one who had difficult conversations and set boundaries and said no to things that didn't matter. That version is not lost. That version has been waiting for you the entire time. The only thing standing between you and that person is the distance you're willing to travel to meet them. And distance is measured in days, small days, ordinary days, days where you do one thing differently than you did before. So here's what I want you to do. Starting tomorrow, I want you to commit to one single thing, not 5 things, not a complete life overhaul, one thing. Maybe it's waking up at 6 in the morning. Maybe it's writing 3 things you're grateful for before you check your phone. Maybe it's having one conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's spending 30 minutes on something you care about. Maybe it's saying no to one thing that's draining your energy. Pick the one thing that if you did it consistently for the next 90 days would force you to become a different person. The kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. The kind of person who shows up even when it's hard. The kind of person who doesn't need anyone's permission or validation because they're learning to validate themselves. That one thing will be your anchor. It will be the small ceremony that reminds you every single day that you're building something. And yes, there will be days when you don't want to do it. There will be days when it feels pointless and you'll be tempted to go back to the way things were. But here's the truth. The old way didn't work. It got you here. It got you to the point where you're listening to a stranger on the internet because something inside you is desperate for change. So when you feel the urge to quit, remember that. Remember the person you were a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Remember how that person felt. Remember why you started and do the thing anyway, because every single day you show up for yourself, you're sending a message to your subconscious that says you're worth it. Your future is worth it. I'm willing to do hard things because I respect myself enough to demand better. And over time, that message becomes the truth. I know you're scared. I know this feels impossible. I know part of you is convinced that this time won't be different, that you'll fail like you failed before, that you're fundamentally broken, and nothing will ever fix that. I know you're tired of pretending to be okay when you're not. I know you're exhausted from carrying this weight alone, but you're not alone, and you're not broken. You're just disconnected from yourself. The good news is that reconnection is available to you right now. It's not waiting for some perfect future moment. It's not dependent on anyone else approving of your changes. It's not contingent on your circumstances becoming more favorable. It's available in this moment if you choose to reach for it. Every single person you've ever admired, every person who's built something meaningful, every person who's overcome adversity and created a life they're proud of, they all started exactly where you are right now, standing at the edge of a decision, terrified, uncertain, but willing to take one step forward anyway. They didn't become extraordinary because they were different people. They became extraordinary because they decided that they were worth the effort to become more. And now it's your turn. This is the moment, not tomorrow, not after you finish this video, not when circumstances change, right now. This is the moment where you decide whether you're going to spend the rest of your life as the person your circumstances made you, or whether you're going to rebuild yourself as the person your soul has been calling you to be. That's not a small choice. That's everything. That's the difference between a life you tolerate and a life you actually love living. So what's it going to be? Are you going to hit pause on this video and go back to your old patterns, your old habits, your old versions of yourself? Are you going to tell yourself that you'll start next week, next month, next year? Are you going to keep carrying that weight, keep feeling that ache of wasted potential, keep looking in the mirror at someone you don't recognize? Or are you going to wake up right now, today, this moment? Are you going to choose yourself? Because here's what I know about you. I know that somewhere deep inside, there's still a spark. There's still a part of you that believes in possibility. There's still a voice that whispers about the life you could have if you were willing to build it. That voice is real. That voice is yours, and it's been waiting for you to listen. So listen now. Hear what it's telling you. It's telling you that you're stronger than you think. It's telling you that you deserve better than this. It's telling you that the person you want to become isn't some fantasy reserved for other people. It's a real possibility available to you. If you're willing to do the work, the person in the mirror is about to change. They're about to become someone who keeps their promises, someone who respects themselves, someone who shows up even when it's hard, someone who values their own time and energy in life. That person is you. Or rather, that person is the you that you're about to become. And the world is waiting for them. So wake up, Actually wake up, not to your phone, not to your obligations, not to the noise of everyone else's expectations. Wake up to yourself, to the knowledge that you have the power to rebuild this, to the understanding that you are the author of what comes next, to the simple, profound truth that your life is what you make it, and starting right now, you're going to start making it into something you're actually proud of. The rebuild begins now, not with a grand gesture, not with perfect planning, just with a decision to do one thing differently tomorrow than you did today, and then another, until one day you look in the mirror and you smile because you finally see yourself again. That day is coming. Make it come faster.